Hey, sorry about that.
So we're back with the Your Money Hour podcast. We had a mishaps, so we're back again with Lekesha Bennett. Now you were saying about your son. He passed away. He found out that
Hmm.
he had passed out, and then he passed away 30 minutes later. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, he when he passed out, he did pass away, is what happened. But no,
Mm,
they weren't aware that that's what happened. So he had what is called a sudden cardiac death, which means your heart just stops
mm,
immediately. Um, while he was playing basketball, it's something that, and both of my children were athletes, lifelong. My youngest son is now a senior at South Carolina State University. He's a collegiate athlete, plays football. Vari also was a lifelong athlete. My children's names are Javaris and Jacory, but I call them Vari and Corey. So Vari had um, a heart defect that was just never caught. But he was just always healthy, always active, and just never really caused him any issues. And so that day, that's what happened. And 1 in 300 children have an undiagnosed heart condition, actually. So it's just things I never knew of until his loss. And so that kind of put me on the road of changed my life immediately. Um, I was a young mom, so I really focused on raising my children and making sure that they were successful. And I remember people asking me what did I want to do, and I didn't know. Like I didn't know. It was just trying to get them in college and ready for success. And then when he died, I had to take a hard look at like what did I want for myself, you know. Um, and I'd have to say, being their mom continued to lead the direction I wanted to go because he was on campus in North Carolina selling my products. Like he'd come home and get somewhere. So you need to ship me some up here because he really thought it was just, he was so fascinated by the fact that I made soap and stuff. And he was up there like really pushing it, and he really just thought I could make this big business. And both of my children are business majors. They want to be entrepreneurs, and meanwhile, I was excited to go clock in. Um, and it made me think, and I was a workaholic as well, and that was the first time I took some time off from work. And so I wasn't trying to continue to make products other than I was just at home and depressed, if I'm gonna be honest. And so that just was something to get off the couch and do. And I created a whole nother line in those 3 months I was off. I started making makeup as well. And that is really when I started making money. Uh and so I really wasn't into it, if I'm gonna be honest with you. It was just other people pushing me, but I just had the time on my hands to dedicate to it. And I remember thinking, well, if he believed that I could do it, I should try. But that was still me as a mother, like, you know what I mean? That was a way to say, I'm going to honor, Vari believed in me, so I should believe in myself, kind of thing. And so that really led me with that business. But it also pushed me to do other things. I've since launched a nonprofit. Um, Dedicated to creating health equity because there were some other issues uh, going on with my son, and don't really have time to talk about that. But to creating health equity and educational equity, the both of those departments specifically are to honor my children. Um, that I think both experienced some discrimination. One in the Chakori, probably in the educational system, and Vari in the healthcare system. Um, and just to give you a brief background, because I know we don't have long left, uh, an African American male that displays symptoms of cardiac issues are 7 times less likely to be diagnosed.
mm,
And that is because simply of medical racism. And Vari did have symptoms only once, but he did. He had every classic symptom of having a heart condition,
mm,
and he was more so. They checked him for drug use as opposed to doing a battery of tests to find out if he had a heart condition.
Mm,
And then he was diagnosed with anxiety um, because he collapsed once before while playing basketball. And and then 50% of people that die of sudden cardiac death, the first symptom is death, right? So he was lucky enough to get that one collapse that he lived through, and then still it was not caught because they were wondering if he was smoking weed.
mm,
Yeah, instead of looking at what happened, just classic. The same exact thing happened the second time, but unfortunately, he just didn't survive the second time. So,
mm,
I do a lot of work surrounding bringing awareness to that. Um, Sudden cardiac arrest is the number one cause of death on school campuses. It's the number one cause of death due to athletes, and it's a lot of times not heard of. We've all heard of childhood cancer, right? I'm sure you've heard of that. And I think the numbers are about 700 kids per year die from that.
mm,
Well, over 7,000 die from sudden cardiac arrest, and most people haven't heard of it.
mm.
So you've got 100 times more, and yet you've not heard of this. So I do a lot of work surrounding that. So the work I do still is led by my children. Just like starting a skincare business was, I'm trying to solve a problem for my son. Well, my nonprofit, and it's called the NOLA Network, is still trying to cause a problem, and I certain or to find a solution to a problem. I certainly can't bring my son back, but my hope is that I can keep someone else from losing theirs. So, that's what I do, and then I got pretty loud and vocal about outside of health equity and educational equity, just equity all the way around, and racial equity, and got in some trouble because of it at one job, and I left and started working for myself. So uh, and and so then I think I became a little well known for that. People started seeking me out, and I think that's what led me to run for city council when I beat an incumbent, and here I am. So
Awesome.
you know,
Wow. 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 So going from being having a hobby, starting a business,
right,
to losing a son, to being encouraged to do a business and creating a
right,
nonprofit, to be now a congresswoman, a city councilwoman say.
yeah, city
That's an
council.
amazing story. So you have the floor. Like, what could you give the audience that could encourage them? I mean, you've already given the audience enough, in my opinion, but you have the floor.
Well, I just want to say that I know I let fear hold me back, and I just say do it afraid. Just, if I could go back, I would have just done it afraid. Everybody's not built just to quit their job and pursue their dreams. I am not built that way. Um, but I could have certainly transitioned a little quicker if I just made adjustments and did it afraid. Um, Another thing I'd say is put as much into yourself as you put into other people, because I know for sure that I put more into that job I clocked in on than I did for myself, and I don't know why that was, but I did. And if I could tell anybody a regret I had, it was that I worked harder for other people than I worked for myself. And to thine own self be true. I think that we believe putting too much in ourselves is selfish, and the best thing you can do is invest in yourself, because you can't do anything for anybody else if you're not taken care of first. Um, so those would be the gems I would, I guess, drop that I wish that I had learned before. It would have made my road a little easier. Um, and just find whatever motivates you. See, fear holds me back, but anger motivates me. I was angry. I was angry that my son died, so I launched a nonprofit. I was angry at some things that they did locally in government that made me say, "I'm who? Let me take somebody's job." You know what I mean? I was angry that things cost too much. The good quality skincare products, and that I didn't make enough money, so I made my own products, and then a price that I thought other people could afford. So anger motivates me. Well, something, whatever motivates you, latch on to it and use that for fuel for your future and your success.
Wow. So Councilwoman Benson, thank you for your time. And this
Thank
is
you
the
for
Your
having me.
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome. So this is the Your Money Hour podcast. Thank y'all for listening and take care.
Bye.